Good evening, Princess.
The princess is muted. Maybe she needs to unmute herself.
Mama de baba wallahi ruwa jiya ne yau bai fara aiki ba bai take sai ki je ba ruwa ya nuna ban ruwa har kana wallahi Allah I watch oh ya ina ganin yanzu ko ba ta mai amma ko ya dawo kana ba ta fahimci oh
Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
only cook.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good evening. Hello. We can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, I want to appreciate you all for joining this special webinar by BAM for the Bruce Foundation on the widow and challenges of drug use stigmatization in commemoration of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. My name is Dirufina Waneka. Thank you all for joining once again. And may I introduce to you the convener for this special program, Princess Ekwi Ajide. Princess, can you hear me? Hello, Princess, can you hear me?
Well, we understand that.
Hello, she's still online.
We understand the challenges.
I think Princess is
but can we-
online. She's muted, so she needs to unmute herself so that she can speak to us.
Okay. But can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
I can hear you. I can speak for myself.
I can. Yes. I can also have a very good evening.
Hi, Amen.
Yes.
The people making noise in the background, and they get themselves into a quiet place or they mute themselves?
Please, can you mute yourselves? All right, thank you. Princess. I think she's having problems. Let me get to her. Okay, I think we have Mrs. Dr. Chinelo online. Dr. Chinelo, are you online?
Hello?
Yeah, Princess, you're welcome.
Hello?
Hello, Princess, we can hear you, ma.
Please, can you hear me?
Of course, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Please go ahead, ma. We can hear you.
So much noise is coming from Mr. Odion Sunday. If he can hear me, can he please either mute himself or go to a quiet place, please?
Mr. Sunday. Hello, Mr. Sunday. Thank you.
I've muted him. I've muted him already.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Vera. So can we have Princess? Princess. I'm not sure she can hear us. Vera.
Yes.
Please, can you help call Princess, please?
Okay, let me call her.
Thank you.
It would be nice if the admin can also mute Agulon or Augustine. So much noise is coming from his background.
All right. Bound for the bruise, either of them. Two of them are on. Bound for the bruise, BFBF.
All right. Can you
Of them.
please? Can you hear Princess? Pina, can you hear Princess?
Yes, I hear Princess.
Yeah, I can hear her.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, can you hear me? I can hear you. I don't know.
I don't know why.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Princess, you're welcome.
I can
Tina,
hear you.
please let the other person continue. Baba Femi is there. Let the next person continue while we rectify my audio.
Okay.
Pina, did you hear her?
Yes, yes, yes.
Pina.
What I said,
Yes,
please.
yes. Okay.
Okay.
On that note, we move over
Pina,
to
she said you can continue, or the next person can continue while she rectifies her audio.
Okay, the next program on our list is remarks by Mr. Femi Babafemi, the spokesperson, NDLEA. Can we have you, Mr. Femi? Are you online?
All right, thank you. I'm live with you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, let me start by appreciating the convener, that is Princess Ekwe Ajide. Thank you for the invitation to be part of this conversation. That is getting us to speak to discuss the theme for this year's World Drug Day, People First, Stop Stigma and Discrimination, Strengthen Prevention. Now, I'll start by saying that the decision by the United Nations to choose as the theme for the 2023 World Drug Day, People First, Stop Stigma and Discrimination, Strengthen Prevention, is no doubt in furtherance of the whole of society approach to taming the drug scourge. This theme is essentially important to the Nigerian situation at the moment. It's also pertinent to know that those who bear the brunt, either directly or indirectly, of the drug scourge globally are primarily the people. So you can understand the significance of the word people, that is the concept of the word people first in the theme. Therefore, any meaningful efforts towards tackling the drug scourge must be people-centered, must be people-oriented. So people first is a notion that should begin with the mind. And in this context, the people refers to an approach that aims to recognize and address the needs of the vulnerable people, especially the drug users, drug-dependent people, in order to make them feel more valued, supported, and protected in our society than they previously or presently perceive themselves to be. Now, putting the people first will entail that they are shown empathy, love, and care, and this gesture is more likely to elicit their willingness to be part of any program on action tailored towards their health and their needs. I'm speaking from practical experience of what we deal with at the agency, and so if the people, because we also have to appreciate the fact that there is the need for the willingness or the preparedness of these same people to be able to submit themselves to treatment. Otherwise, whatever the authorities or even members of the family decide to do may not really achieve much. So global efforts towards achieving a drug-free society often suffer, like I was trying to say, setbacks due to negative societal perceptions of people who use drugs, and also due to a lack of proper understanding of the drug use phenomena arising from societal ignorance, misconception, and prejudice towards these people. Now, the second part of the theme is about stigma and discrimination. Now, I've just tried to lay bare why the word people, the phrase people first is significant. Now, coming to the second part, which is stigma and discrimination. This tends to decrease the self-worth of the affected persons and may trigger depression and resistance to change when they think they are not accepted by the society, when they think, just like any other people, any other group in the society, when they feel they are not accepted, they become recalcitrant, whatever the programs or social plans by the society or by the authorities really mean nothing to them. And so these negative attitudes, that is stigma and discrimination, deepen the society's general apathy towards the issues affecting this class of people. This is why then I'll come to narrow down what our own understanding and what we do at the NDLA in response to this phenomena or this concept. Now, this is why at the NDLA, that's the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, especially in the last 2.5 years, we've shifted towards global best practices in tackling this scourge by making significant investments in prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation. Now, the doors of our rehabilitation facilities are open at all times across the country. We have about 34 of them now. And in the last 29 months, we've acquired a few more rehab centers given to us as donations, while we also have obtained the federal government's approval for the construction of regional model rehab centers across the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. Now, more private facilities are also cooperating with the agency, and to cap it all, NDA went above and beyond to invest in a toll-free, round-the-clock call center that provides teletherapy. And at the center, we have counselors, psychologists, psychotherapists, mental health specialists, and psychiatric doctors who can be reached through our toll-free helpline 0800-1020-3040. And at this center, geographical location or language is equally not a barrier. People can make a call. Our experts can take the call of those who are struggling with substance abuse and who need help, or their family members. They can take their call either in English, Pidgin, Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. That is the three major local languages. And in summary, we have prioritized treatment, while our WADA, that is War Against Drug Abuse Advocacy Initiative, has taken a life of its own with our commands, formations, our partnering civil society organizations, taking sensitization lectures and campaigns to schools, communities, worship places, and many more across the country every day. In addition, we have also introduced TV commercials and radio jingles in different languages being broadcast on various platforms. This is simply aimed at prevention by sensitizing the people and equipping them with the facts about drugs to enable them to take the right decisions against substance abuse, because when people are equipped with facts, when they know about the dangers of the substances they are abusing or they're about to abuse them, they are better equipped to take the right decision to stop it or to avoid it. Nonetheless, there is still a significant obstacle, which, like said, drug users would be hesitant to check in for treatment, even if rehab was right around the corner, because the moment it is known that they are in rehab, they are stigmatized and become outcast. That's the kind of society, the kind of perception that we have out there within our society. Now, this stigma leads to discrimination, which also explains the word discrimination in this year's theme, which has its own serious socioeconomic repercussions for individuals and their families. Stigmatization and discrimination make recovery and reintegration difficult for drug-dependent users who submit themselves to treatment. And the prevalence of such attitude is counterproductive to the effort, time, and resources invested by governments, institutions, and corporate bodies working to contain the drug problem. That is what this year's theme is about. As a result, and as such, we must rid ourselves of any bias against those who are drug dependent to be able to support, expedite, and make permanent their recovery. The theme will also serve as an impetus for us to make a collective effort to break down these invisible but formidable social barriers that undermine the attainment of the goal of a drug-free society. Now, regarding, still coming to the agency, what we're doing regarding prevention, educating the populace is still the best way to go. That is why we continue to pursue WADA advocacy with renewed vigor through this awareness campaign. We are reorientating the public about the importance of treatment and the imperative too of ending the stigmatization and discrimination against people in treatment for drug use. That's the whole essence of setting up a drug abuse call center where people can call through our toll-free helpline without the fear of being judged or the fear of stigmatization. Now, this is crucial. This is a crucial area of partnership between NDLA, NGOs, development partners, and the various groups, institutions, and relevant professionals in society, including media professionals who have been very supportive of the renewed war on drugs. I will then conclude, because I know we are well timed. I will conclude by saying that society must show empathy for drug users receiving treatment and work to help them reintegrate into society after their rehabilitation in order to ensure our collective safety and peace of mind. Because when we give them support, they stay off drugs. They are not the only ones who will be better for it, the families, the society, because when these people, knowing the fact that there is a strong nexus between substance abuse and some elements of criminalities out there, we do know for sure that some of those committing some crimes out there definitely do not do all of this without their minds already being altered by these mind-altering or psychoactive substances. And so when these people stay off drugs, meaning that we have some level of safety, we have some level of security in our communities. By doing this, we would avert potential difficulties and the traumatic consequences that could arise if situations were to be ignored and allowed to spiral out of control. This is where I'd like to end my presentation. I want to thank everyone on this space for your time and for listening to me. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Femi. Thank you for speaking to us. And next on our list. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please, seeing Chinelo raise her hands. Let her, if you have any questions for Mr. Femi, please give it now because he's leaving for his next program every day. Please do that right away.
Okay. Do I have the floor now?
Yeah, Mrs. Chinelo, sorry. We can hear you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Femi, for the lecture. There's so much to say about drug users, but you see, the aspect of empathy, yes. But you find out that some of the or most of the relatives of these people may not even be able to identify when their relative are stepping out of the normal into drugs. So how can they show empathy? You'll be able to show empathy maybe when you have the wherewithal to feel what the person feels, know what the person knows, and the resources, because I am more concerned about the low profile drugs. And these low profile drugs are not regulated, like where I stay. Hello, am I still on?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Just that there are some noises are coming from your background.
Yes. Most of these low profile drugs are not controlled. And so I don't really know. Sometimes from my own relationship with young people around me, trying to show empathy lures the next person into taking it, particularly gospel that is highly prevalent in just. I don't know, whether there are limits or areas where you can draw lines about showing empathy in this case. Thank you.
All right. If I understand you very well, Mrs. Shinelo, if I understand your point very well, you're talking about showing empathy when the people who are supposed to show the empathy themselves don't really understand this whole thing. Where you can see this, it's something that is really coming, something that is really new in Nigeria as far as showing these people some empathy. That's why we're trying to break away from the past, from the old tradition of criminalizing them and trying to drag them and paint them in colors, and believe that over the years, this has not really solved the problem, even though the law in Nigeria as of today still penalizes possession, that is whether you are using or dealing. But then, and that's why I tell you that in the agency, when we arrest, that's why we have huge figures of arrest, over 31,675 in the last 2.5 years. That's a huge figure of arrest. But then if you look at the other parts of our operations, talking of rehabilitation, counseling, we have over 23,000 of these people that have been taken through counseling and rehabilitation, albeit through brief interventions. Now, the whole essence of the new trend of trying to sensitize the public is for them to be able to understand that there are quite a lot of predisposing factors responsible for why these people are doing what they are doing. We know definitely that poverty is key. And that's why, again, like my agency, we've been working with governments across all levels starting from the federal to the state, local government, so that there could be quite a lot of microeconomic policies that would help resolve some of the issues underlining the reason why these people go into this. But then, notwithstanding whether they are poor or not, this we have often said is not enough reason, even though we know it's a major factor. Again, beyond the issue of poverty pushing people, because this problem, again, we have to trace it back straight to the foundation. That is the family, the families. And so the family, again, we also need to ensure through various platforms that the family is well equipped. Parents have to be intentional in raising their kids so that they can be well equipped with the right information, with the right knowledge about these substances, including the one you refer to, the new psychoactive substances. We know some of these things are out there. So parents also need to be intentional, needs to take responsibility rather than shifting responsibility to government or some other agencies. They need to take responsibility, because when the bubble bursts, the person abusing this substance will not be the only victim. His families or their families would also be victims. That's what I said. The people bearing the brunt are not only, either directly or indirectly, are not only the drug users, but their families, the society, and the country as a whole. So we all bear the consequences, and that's why we all need to wake up, accept our situation, then keep ourselves, update ourselves, and accept the responsibility that indeed for these people to be able to come out of their situation, we need to show them empathy, we need to support them, especially those that are willing and are prepared to seek treatment, so that we can get them out of this. Because when we get them out of this, then the better for themselves, because at that point they become useful, they become productive, their families benefit from it, the society benefits from it, and the country, they have some contributions to the nation's GDP. I hope that answers your question, Madam Chinelo.
Okay, I think it answers the question for me. I don't know if she's still here, but I guess it answers the question for me. Is there any other question for Femi before he leaves? Okay. In the absence of any other question for him,
about... Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Femi, you made mention of different rehab centers in Nigeria. Where can we find one? I don't know. You said we have rehab centers in almost, I think, in all the states in Nigeria. But I've not really heard of one here in other states, so I would like to know.
Yes, like I said, thank you very much for that. We have across our commands, that is the NDLA state commands, and in the state capitals, we have in 34 of them, we have 36 of such, but in 34 of them, we have these counseling and rehab facilities where we take people in. Some, like I said again, some of these are not the model ones, but then we have quite a lot of private ones, including 11 model centers owned by the Federal Ministry of Health. That's the psychiatric hospitals. They are all over. They are all parts of the country. They are all over the country. And again, like we often say, the number of people who need treatment at the moment, we don't have enough bed spaces, enough facilities across the country. There's no doubt about that, to take care of all the people who really need help. And that's why when you go to any of the facilities owned by the agency, they are usually full. And in some cases, that's why we encourage people to call our call center, our toll-free helpline, so that there at the center, they can guide you And because they have a diary of all the rehab centers across the country, they can guide families or individuals who need help so that and direct them to the closest facility around them for help. But as for us, like I said, we have 34 of such facilities in our command, state command headquarters, and we also know, I mean, the importance of these facilities. We've also approached the government to have additional, I mean, to have model, 6 model centers in the 6 geopolitical zones. I think about 3 of them are ongoing. I think 1 is almost, or if not completed already. So we'll be having 3 in this year's fiscal year, and that's in this current budget, and hopefully by next year we'll probably be having the other 3. That's in addition to the 11 model centers operated by the Federal Ministry of Health across the federal psychiatric hospitals in parts of the country. I think you have some, I mean, you have 1 in Abeokuta, 1 in Lagos, and I think Kaduna. Across the country, they are quite, and the 11 is spread across the country, and so you can, but then for you, if you have anybody who need help, just feel free to call or approach the NDLA command headquarters across in your state. They will be able to provide assistance, or if you can't get to that location, just call our toll-free helpline 0800 1020 3040. They will be able to attend to you, guide you. Even they can provide at that level teletherapy to the person who need help. And if when they are done with the assessment, if the person needs to check into a rehab center, then they can also guide the person and direct the person appropriately. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Please, can you call the number again? We're too fast.
Okay. 0800, that's 0800 1020 3040.
Okay, thank you very much. Someone is raising his
Thank you.
hand.
One necker, please let me. I saw somebody raise his hand.
Yeah.
Can he ask the Linus Aleke? Let him ask the question so that we'll move on. That will be the last question for this segment. Thank you. Linus, you have the line. You have the floor.
Hello.
Linus, are you still there? Okay.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Sure, we can hear you.
All right. My question is on this. He spoke about building 6 model centers across the 6 geopolitical zone. I want to know how much these centers is going to cost the agency to build, and what is the timeline of putting this in place.
Well, thank you very much, Linus, for the question. Like I said before, I know that we're starting with 3. I think 3 was captured in this year's budget year, and the other hopefully will be coming in the subsequent budgetary provisions. If I don't have the details of the budget before me, but if you can, it's what is available at the budget office and at their website. The national budget is open. It's something that could be provided. I mean, that someone can lay hands on online, or that you can get the information as far how much. I don't know how much, but then I know that 3 of such building or 3 of such projects they were approved for this year, and I know that they are ongoing. But the other 3 has not been captured yet, even though we have approval for them, and that's depending on the availability of resources from government. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Moderator, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aleke, and thank you, Mr. Femi. Next on our list is speech on the widow and challenges of drug use stigmatization by the Executive Director, Better Care and Recovery Consults Limited, Mr. Ame, right? Can we have you, sir?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Okay. I want to appreciate Femi for laying a very solid foundation for the discussion. And appreciate Mr. Rekwi. Like one of my friends will say, since I'm in my house, let me sit on the existing protocol. If we were in a hall and I had to stand up and give a talk, I would be standing, but let me sit on the existing protocol. Well, the theme for this year, like Femi has emphasized, is people first. And it tells us that there's a need for a reorientation. The existing attitude towards a drug user now is that of a stigma, and a stigma will mean that you carry a mark that you are not accepted, a mark of unacceptability, a mark of accusation, a mark of a conclusion that you are a failure morally. And so, it is the people that are behind that. So if there's going to be a reorientation, you have to be the people first. There must be a change of attitude. And this time around, like the emphasis is on this year's theme, is empathy. Can we try to be civil in the use of our language towards a drug user? Can we also try not to be judgmental? Let us try to understand that these are human beings who are suffering public health challenges and will require our support to be able to overcome. And so it is the people that must change their orientation for us to end discrimination, for us to end prejudice, either on the individual directly or on the family. It is not uncommon in our part of the world to begin to hear that that is the mother of the drug user, or that is the sister of the drug user. It's so bitter that the ripple effect is such that when somebody wants to marry from a family, somebody say, no, you cannot marry from that family because they have somebody who uses drug. That's stigmatization. But narrowing it down to the widow, you will all agree that in most Nigerian cultures, widows are unfairly treated. Some of them are accused of outrightly being responsible for their husband's death. Some of them are accused of being responsible for the drug use habit of their children. And so you will find, from my years of experience on the job, you come across situations where a widow decides to use drugs as a coping skill. The pressure becomes so much. So it starts by probably using the pharmaceutical opioids like what we call the sleeping tablets. You know, the pressure is so much, so she cannot sleep except she takes either the diazepam, the Lexotan, and the related other drugs that can relax the muscles of the individual. And so, because of the pressure, the widow is introduced into these drugs with very high addictive properties. So the risk is that you will have to increase to be able to get that. I don't know where the echo is coming from. Well, so when the widow, continue. I know.
Yes, go ahead, sir. Can hear you.
Okay.
I think we
When
should
the
all
widow,
all mute except for who's speaking. Except for who's speaking.
has to
If
increase the
we mute,
quantity of those
if we
sleep
mute,
tablets. To bathe the initial sleep. At that point, it
Please,
becomes
anyone speak, speak, mute his or herself, please.
it depends. And so the individual becomes dependent on that drug. But that is not even the most challenging. I'm going to share a few experiences. A widow became dependent on heroin. And it got to a point that she didn't have the resources again to be able to buy the heroin for her consumption. What did she do? She had to use her 11-year-old daughter as a pimp. And so the drug user, the man who gives her drugs, sleeps with the 11-year-old daughter and gives the widow drugs. I mean, so you can imagine that kind of challenge. So the immediate effect goes beyond the individual who is the widow to the daughter. And so you tackling the widow problem is not even addressing the situation in total, because what do you do to the 11-year-old girl? The innocent girl who is forced to go and sleep with a man because the man has to give drugs to the mother. These are experiences that you find out there. Then, for the relations of the husband, of course, typically in our kind of society, if the young boy if the son is successful, is the father's son. If the son begins to have challenges, it is the mother's fault. And so the widow usually carries the burden of a child or a son that is dependent on drug use. The entire community blames her for it, and it adds to her stress. Apart from that, I've also seen a situation where all of a sudden the drug-using son of a widow became very nice to the mother. Every evening she was coming home, he would come with suya for the mother, and the mother was wondering from where is this love coming. But there was a problem. 2 months after that, the woman was sick and went to the hospital. And after all the tests, they said, you are pregnant. I mean, I don't need to explain what I'm talking about. That a grown-up drug-dependent son of a widow takes advantage of the mother, introduces the mother into drug use through the sugar that he was bringing every evening. And at the end of the day, the woman was pregnant. So when you have encounter with widows, it is pathetic. So empathy is not just about the individual who is using drugs. Empathy also is on the families that carry this brunt. When they say drug use has ripple effect, it goes beyond the individual. But above all, it is the widow that suffers most. What do we do to be able to help this widow? We must have a reorientation. Let us not begin to castigate. We must find a way to show love. We must find a way to show encouragement by strengthening prevention. You're going to find widows with very young families. Such widows, you can assist. You can strengthen prevention by ensuring that the children are not exposed to drugs before maturity. When they say don't sell alcohol to somebody under 18, it's a primary prevention. What it means is that this individual should not have access to using alcohol before he can make up his mind like an adult, which is at the age of 18. So if a widow has children that are underage, children that are young, it behoves on the society to assist them, behoves on the society to help them bring up those children, ensuring that they have no encounter with drugs before maturity. If we must strengthen prevention, we should also focus on what do you do to the child of a widow that's already having problems with using drugs. A problematic drug user is not a failure morally. That person needs help. And that's why, again, the area of empathy comes in. What help can you give? Are there areas where treatment are available? Just like Femi said, every NDLA office across the states or the federation, can render some basic help of counseling and rehabilitation. And so when you have children of widows who have become problematic, it behoves the society to help them access treatment. Even when those challenges have already become tertiary, I mean, the person is already psychotic, there is still a ground to help. So for us to be able to help widows, can we please, as relations, as individuals, as a community, as a society, help them to strengthen prevention by ensuring that their underage children have no access to drugs before they mature, or if they're already having access and having problems with using drugs, let us assist them to seek treatment. Then, for God's sake, can we be more civil in the use of our language to describe relations of people who use drugs? When we put that mark of unacceptability, when we put that mark of guilt, when we put that mark of prejudice or discrimination, just like Femi said earlier, it's going to negatively affect their desire to own up and seek assistance. I'll share again an experience. About 2 years ago, I had a call about midnight and somebody was asking for assistance. There was a widow whose son was having problems that night. He had taken his drugs, he had threatened to kill the mother, was going to burn down the house. And the person who was calling me was not the widow. And so I asked, I said, okay, can I talk to the widow? She said, no, they don't want to be known. What was her fear? If she gets to be known, the society was going to put a stigma on her. And so somebody was having headache somewhere and saying that the doctor cannot listen to him or her to be able to do the appropriate prescription. So until there is a reorientation in the society, when we begin to offer support, when we begin to offer our shoulders for widows and other family members that have problematic drug users, this problem is not going to go away soon. Again, we go back, the people first. The reorientation has to be from the people. When you talk of stigma, it's about societies or communities that know the individual families. And so they begin to say, no, you cannot marry from that family. But you turn it around, the man who is saying you cannot marry from that family, we want his drug use son to also marry somebody else's daughter. So we must change our orientation. We must give support. We must strengthen prevention. No matter the level, prevention at the level that children must not be allowed to have access to drugs before maturity. It is evil if we begin to send our children, if you're a widow, if you're a man out there, it is evil if you begin to send your children to go and assist to get drugs or buy drugs. You have initiated them. And by that initiation, only God knows the level at which they are going to end. And so I want to join the organizers. I want to join, like Femi said earlier, that all hands must be on deck. Let us have a reorientation. Let us give support to families. Let us give support to widows particularly. Coping skill cannot be through drugs. You are going to escape from that problem for the duration if that drug has effect on you. The effects are going to wear out. You're going to come back to those your in-laws that you say they are troubling you. And so coping skill has to do with reaching out to experts and being guided properly on what decisions to make to be able to cope with the stress that you face. I pray and I ask for support for every widow out there, especially for those ones already having challenges with drug use. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Well,
Mr. Ray. I don't know.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello, you can go ahead, Princess. Please go ahead, ma.
Now I'm seeing some people raise their hands. Aleke and Joel. So let Joel go first, then Aleke will follow.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah,
All
I can
right.
hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. A wonderful delivery. Thank you so much, sir. But I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
If we begin to see this as a normal thing, like in the name of not stigmatizing them, don't you think it will look like a norm? You will agree with me that there are some people who don't go into drug basically because of what people will say, what society will say. How do we balance it so that it won't look like a norm and then people can freely go into it because the society already see it as sees it as a normal thing?
Well, I'm not trying to justify or nationalize the use of drugs, but you will be surprised that a very negligible percentage of people who use drugs, I'm talking to adults, actually have problems with using drugs. Globally, about 270 something million people use drugs, but not more than 12 million of that population have problems with drugs. About 200 million of that population have problems with drugs. You will understand that there are people who use drugs who are very successful in life. Like I said, I'm not analyzing. And I'm not trying to justify. But for that one person in a family, the same family that has produced professors, nobody talks about professors and the business tycoon. Yeah, somebody's. So for you to use that one deviant in quote now, and begin to say this family is a family of drug users, I think that's unfair. So instead of investigation, can we help? Can we give support? Don't forget that drug use is a public health challenge. It's treatable. There are people who have used drugs in Nigeria. But very high people of having gone into the application before. Some of them later on became ministers. Some of them became governors. Some of them. Let us not run down and castigate and condemn and write off somebody because the person is using drugs. In any case, for the mother who is a widow to carry that brunt is unfair. Person, that brunt is unfair. Let us be non-judgmental. Let us be civil. Let us show love. Let us show support. And we believe at the end of the day, turn out positively.
All right, thank you, sir.
Aleke, ask your question, then Austin will follow.
No, it is almost the same question that I wanted to ask earlier, and he has answered.
Austin, okay, you have the floor. Augustine Aulona, are you here? Please unmute it and ask your question. Unless he has answered your question too. All right, Waneka, let's continue. Is Fina here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Call the next speaker, please.
Um, testimonial from a caregiver, Neka. Testimonial from a caregiver, Neka. Hello, Neka, are you online? Are you here? Hello, Neka, are you online? Are you here?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, ma. You're welcome.
Thank you. Yes, good evening. This is a testimony anyway. I have an aunt who is into, but she's an addict anyway. Let me just use the word like that. Can you hear me?
We
Hello?
can hear you, ma.
Yes, we are hearing you. We are hearing you.
Okay, so and she's a staff, an officer in a respectable organization in Nigeria, a high rank officer. So but I don't know, she cannot go a day without taking something. So it's been a concern to me because I'm living with her. It's been a concern, and the thing is affecting her health-wise, in her work, even in her finances. So sometimes she goes borrowing in order to have something to take every evening.
We have lost the speaker. We're not hearing her,
Are you
please.
there, Neka?
Oh, rather. Yes, I'm here. Hello.
We're not hearing her, please.
That is network. Hello.
Go on. We can hear you now. We can
Yes.
hear you. We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you now.
It's more like,
Thank you.
I think she wants to know if there's a yes.
Hello.
Neka, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, Mas, I was saying. Hello.
Just continue. We can hear you. Continue.
Okay, yes. I said as a younger one to her, I don't know how to go about it. I've tried talking to her, but she shut me up. I don't know. So I have, as in it affects me. Watching her messing herself up in her work. Her colleagues will just be talking about her, how she's not active and all that.
Can I contribute?
You hear me? Yes, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. No, that's unfortunate, but it is not strange. It's not strange. That's your auntie is sick.
Yes.
For a person, the best is to seek treatment. And so, since her situation is already known in her workplace, I will advise that you liaise with them so that she can go in for treatment. Treatment will mean probably take her out of circulation for a while so that she does not have access to the drugs. Then receives counseling and medical treatment. And at the end of it all, you'll be she'll be covered. It is treatable. Treatment. So treatment. Encourage her to go. It's not likely to accept accept because she may not. I mean, for most of the people drugs, they live in what is wrong with me. It is my life. I can take care of myself. That is when love comes in. That's when support comes in. So liaise with her employers and let her go in for treatment. And at the end of it all, probably at the end of this, take my number from the platform, Princess. Then we can talk. We can guide you properly on what.
Then we can talk. We can guide you
But
properly on
treatment is the recommended thing.
but treatment is the recommended.
Okay, so
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much.
Waneka, what's on the line?
What's on the line?
I'm here. We have Mr.
Here we
Rotimi
have Mr. Roth
remarks by the
remarks by the
Director National Press
National
Lagos.
Press.
Oh, sorry. I
Oh,
think I'm
sorry.
Mr. Rotimi, the
Mr.
Executive
Rotimi,
Director
the
of the
executive.
Ultimate Driver TV show. Do we have you here, sir? Can you hear me?
I don't think I've seen him today. So
Okay.
call the next person, please.
Okay, the Executive Director, International Press Center, Mr. Aregundade. I don't think I pronounced that well, but I'm sure he's here. Sir, are you here?
I saw him.
I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Okay. Well, my,
Okay.
my name is Lanre Arogundade, Executive Director, International Press Center. Well,
You're welcome.
I've been listening to all the presentations. Let me commend the organization for this important webinar and appreciate all the speakers. I can relate with some of their remarks because I have my first degree in psychology, and in our clinical psychology classes, we had to deal with problems of drugs, and also in our abnormal psychology classes. I think we are dealing with an epidemic, and I do agree that new approaches are needed to tackle the matter. And I guess this is where the whole question of elements of empathy comes in the way we relate with those who are known to have drug related problems. I quite agree with that. But I also feel that, for us in the media, we need to do more to talk about the threats that drug abuse poses to society. Not, I mean, we do that not for the purpose of further stigmatizing, but to enlist the support of everybody towards prevention, because I feel that this is a crucial matter. How do we prevent this problem? You notice it around you in the neighborhoods, in the estates. You would always find young people that you suspect are into drugs in one way or the other. And I feel that if more people are sensitized to the dangers that it poses to society, perhaps we'll have more people supporting NDLA, supporting all other efforts towards curbing the drug menace. I've been working on some stories as part of a media award on reporting women issues. And one or two of those stories deal with the problems of drugs as it affects young girls, as it affects women. And I was really, really, shocked at the information that came about, which suggests to me that there's a lot we can do. Even from the discussion we've had so far, we can see that a lot of people are possibly, suffering in silence. So how do we encourage those people to speak out, to seek help? And how do we also ensure that in reporting, the drug problem, we as journalists are also professional? Because at the end of the day, it borders on the ethics of the profession. the way and manner, so we must take leadership. If we are saying that there shouldn't be stigmatization, that should come from the way and manner we report these issues. So once again, I thank the organizers and thank you for allowing me to say a few words.
Thank you, sir, for your contribution. Princess, all right, over to you, ma.
Is it my turn? All right. I'll say a very big thank you to all of you for coming, for being a part of this meeting, because I actually chose the topic. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, some people raised their hands. Some people raised their hands. Let's get them first before I talk. Okay. I saw Joel, Paul. Who else? Okay, Joel and Paul speak. Then Joel will follow.
No, I think my own must be a mistake. Let me put it down.
Okay, the former one. Paul, okay. You have your hands up. Is your hand the former one too, Paul? Paul Mary? All right. That must be a former one too. Okay. Then I take the floor.
Just like I started earlier, I said thank you so much for being a part of the program. I chose the topic, the widow and the challenges of drug abuse, the problem of stigmatization. Because many times women who lose their husbands are often left behind in all things of life. You see them, the family does not see them as anything. Family members see them as killers of their husbands or the major problems of their families. So what do? They seek solace in drugs. And this becomes a problem not just for them, but for the society at large, and most times their children. And these children who are now left untended, they become willing tools in the hands of unscrupulous persons. The United Nations chose this theme for the celebration, People First, Stop Stigmatization and Discrimination, Strengthen Prevention. This is also because stigmatization kills faster than any ailment, because it is judgmental. It puts you on the loop all the time. It puts you, you are the topic of discussion. That's stigmatization. Some of the speakers that already spoke were talking about how they will say, this is the mother of the guy who has drug abuse, or the daughter does this or that. That's stigmatization. And many times, a lot of people will not want to have anything to do with you. You go to the church, they will leave the seat for you. Whatever you do, you are left alone and you are lonely. Loneliness will kill. Now, what do we do to stop this? Just like the speakers have already said, let's learn to change our attitude towards people who do these things. In fact, UN says that drug abuse is just ailment like malaria. So what we should do is we'll treat any other person who is drug dependent or who is sick of drug abuse, like we would have treated that person who has malaria or any other ailment, so that they too will have a sense of belonging, and that will go a long way. Then Mr. Arogundade said something about reporting. I remember there was a time we did something on reportage, reporting drug dependence in the right way. And we learned that there are so many ways that even reporters stigmatize. You call them drug addicts. These drug addicts. It's stigmatization already. So we should also learn to report correctly so that we don't stigmatize those people who we are supposed to defend. Speakers already have given us several reasons why we should support instead of chastising. And that is, let's change our way of thinking and accept all those who are sick with drug abuse and see them as people who are sick, for that is what they are. In all things, I am happy that we had this evening because it's brought to fore a lot of things that we had forgotten in the past. Let's learn to love ourselves. Let's learn to love our neighbors. And when we love ourselves, we'll be able to love our neighbors too. So let's learn and begin to relearn to love our neighbors just like ourselves. And on that note, I'll say thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you for coming. And I think we still have a whole lot to do. It is not ending here, because the way we are talking about widows here, in many communities, like in my Anambra state, widows still suffer a lot. And that's why we are beginning a podcast series very soon, Save Her Now. It's going to be a collection of women, not just widows this time, but women who have been marginalized by society, women who, many of them have been ostracized, many of them have been chased out of their family compounds. Their children are rejecting them, calling them witches for one thing or the other. So we are bringing the story of these women to life, and that's what we hope to achieve. So I ask all of us to join us as we save her now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Princess. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We want to appreciate the speakers and everyone for joining us. On this note, we say
Please, my hand is
thank
up.
you.
Can I say a word, please? My hand is up.
Okay, okay. Oh, I didn't see that.
Okay,
Sorry,
okay,
sir.
we
Go
got the
ahead.
point. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry.
Okay, please.
Sorry
Thank you very
about that.
much. Thank you. My name is Pat Iguilo. I want to sincerely thank the organizers. I also want to thank in particular Princess Ekwi Ajide.
Thank you, sir.
Who brought me to into this program. Let me say this, please. A pure confession. I never knew this ever existed in our communities in Nigeria. I never knew it existed. Thank you for the studies we have done. Thank you for bringing up it up like this. I would wish that this could spread. There is nothing on the face that tells you on the street that this woman, this widow, is drug dependent. But let me say this, please. That whereas we try to treat or handle the ones who are already dependent on drugs, we must also look at how to empower women, empower them even before they get married. The girl child just has to be empowered, because it seems to me that our practice back home, I mean, many of us here are elitist, the women inclusive, we never fall into this category, but a typical Nigerian, or let me say Anambra Igbo lady, Igbo girl, is just there for marriage. Whether primary six or whether school set, whether even when they're going through university, they're pulled out to come and get married. This we must fight, because when the girl gets married without being empowered, she's totally dependent on the husband. And so once anything happens to the husband, even if he's still alive, but his economy has collapsed, that lady's already in trouble. And this can push her into drugs. And now when the lady is even dead, she can't fend for herself because she was never empowered. So I say that whereas we look at how to handle those who are already in the net, in the bracket of drug dependence, we must also look at how to prevent it going forward. Thank you.
Nice
Thank you
one.
so
Thank
much.
you very much, sir. Um, can you hear me?
Someone's hand is up.
Okay.
For Mary, the sound is off.
This Paul. Paul, I was about to say something before earlier on. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. We can hear you now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I
Yeah.
want to appreciate all the speaker. I think from Femi to the last speaker and to Princess. I think I'm so impressed. But my area of concern here is after hearing that Mr. Femi saying they have a 36 or 34 points, and also some other areas one can reach to get issues of drug-related issues to educated. I still feel that we have some little organization into the grassroots, because one thing I think I've studied from the speaker is that we actually need to capture some grassroots. So my question here is, do we actually have some caption leaflets that one can take to the grassroots, which is the youth organizations, to help in synthesizing on this area of drug fighting in the society? It is one thing is good, we organize program and lecture of this nation. The some are, is this lectures getting to the grassroots? I think we should also find a way of having similar organization coming out with a campaign result of how this grassroots will be reached in educating in the fight against drug addict. I think it will give a good sense deliberation will arrive. I think this is just my area of contribution and question to this whole topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for Mary. Thank you. Mr. Ame, can you respond to him?
You want me to respond?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, since you insist. Let me say, in Abu Marwa's approach of the war against drug abuse, like you hear popularly the WADA, is on the premise that all hands must be on deck, adopting a whole society approach. And so, at every level that you find yourself, be an apostle of this message. In your home, in your family, incidentally, there's no way you find yourself that you won't be able to talk about drugs by way of preventing young people from early initiation. And I had the experience of working in the Southeast for a number of years. And I know how powerful the communities are through their PGs. You can provide platforms for experts to sensitize your youth on the inherent dangers. Let them hear from the expert and hearing from their friend on the street who tells them what cloud 9 or 10 they can get to when they use drugs without telling them the other side of it. And so my appeal is that we take this gospel to our communities, take this gospel to our immediate families, and let them know that you could get cool using drugs, but it's a very fast way also of making you get cold. And when you get cold, you are a dead person. Let us not wait for government alone. I am aware that individuals are also into sensitization, treatment, and rehabilitation. Above all, can we advise the one who is sick to see an expert and provide a bridge if you have the resources? If you don't have, if you don't have the resources, it's about encouragement so that the person can see the expert without shame, without stigmatization, without prejudice. Let us design boards that can point into areas where facilities that can treat are available. Direct them to where they are available. If we can support them by way of resources, let us support them. Because if we don't, we are potential victims. Because the drug user is like somebody who throws a stone to the market. Anybody could be a victim. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I want to add that when we work as a team, we'll go places. So if all of us, I can see 27 of us, if all 27 of us can go home preaching this gospel and looking inwards to find out those people around us who already have this problem and will begin by lending a hand, I think there will be changes. So let's be our brother's keeper. I'm now a politician. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Wanek, are you there?
Yeah, Princess, thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have anyone else that would like to contribute or say something? We already have messages here from different people appreciating the organizers and the speakers. Thank you, everyone.
I think I want to. I want you to recognize everybody that is here individually, so that I will say thank you personally to them.
Okay.
Or should I?
You can do that. Is that right?
All right. I'll start from just. There's no other. Just as I'm seeing it on my screen. Mr. Chinweze, thank you so much. For Mary Williams. For Mary Williams is the national president of YCW. YCW is a youth organization in the Catholic Church, recognized by ILO. So he's a big man. Thank you so much. We already heard this orator in Alegu Ame. So we thank you so much. You're always there when we call on you. Dalorine. Youth organizations for self-sustenance. I say thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Chinelo Udakbe. Though you were silent, but your only question was bam. Thank you, Dalorine. One Kadiru. You were marvel. Thank you so much. My own sister, Be This World. I want to say thank you so much. Aleke Linus, that's my best friend so far. Thank you. Ben Ogbo, thank you very much. Chief Oluchegu, thank you. Deli Joe, that's my own jewel. Thank you very much. And Emeka Ajide is the man of the moment. Thank you very much for being here. Oh, Anne of Folklore Nigeria. Anne is still here. She came in before any of us. Thank you so much. I appreciate immensely. Lanre Arugundade. Lanre, I always take you by surprise. And you deliver. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Lydia, finally you entered. Thank you very much. I appreciate. Neka Henrietta, you were wonderful. Thank you. Noel Richie, that's Ogochukwu Orano. I know it's you. Stop hiding. Thank you very much.
Obiora Okechi, Lauren, Patrick Igwilo, thank you. And I know, in fact, we are going to work hand in hand. We're going to work hand in hand to ensure that we empower our girls.
Thank you. Good
Yeah.
to hear. Good to hear. Thank you.
Yes, we'll do that. Regent Exclusive. I don't know who has this name. Regent Exclusive. Whoever, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate immensely. Scared woman. Wow. I don't know who this is, but thank you so much.
Okay. Princess, it's Idara from Radio Nigeria.
Oh, you're a darling. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for
All
having
right,
me.
thank you for coming. And that's it. I think that's it. I thank you all for being here. We at BAM for the Bruce Foundation will keep doing our best to ensure that our women do not do drugs. And if they do, we'll find a way of making them, I guess, fitter. And now we are adding empowering our women before they get married. That's another promise.
Thank you.
I want to ask you that you support us in our drive to Save Her Now. Save Her Now is our project, and this project will begin very soon. So we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much.
Good night,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Princess. Yeah,
Thank you,
I want to
darling.
appreciate you, yeah, for bringing this together, and you and your team, you're doing excellently well. Well, the thing is, when programs like these are organized, we think it's just we are doing it for kind of, like how my people will say it in more laid back Nigerian language, doing sake. But really, something sparks in people and always reminds them of the responsibilities and the duties that they owe these people who use these drugs, who abuse drugs, and who are already down. So thank you so much. You don't really know what you're doing. People might not tell you, but you are hitting the nail on the head. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you, everybody that came. It has been a wonderful time today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for thanking us. We appreciate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciation for
everyone.
everybody. Yeah, it's fine.
It's like nobody wants to leave again.
That's the end of our meeting. So good night, everybody. Sleep well.
Good night.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, darling.
Good night, darling sis.
Thank you. Good night.
And especially, I thank you. Thank you so much.
Ibro kamale muya kare.
the important thing